Yo, what's up everybody? It's Jeff with Full Send Collectibles, and we are back with part 2 of our two-part video opening 1990-91 NBA Hoops. If you did not watch the first video, you'll get the full intro of why I'm really excited to crack into these two boxes. If you didn't watch the first video, the TLDR is, given the new popularity of the Menendez Brothers because of the new Netflix series, this Mark Jackson, which features those same Menendez brothers in the crowd front row, has skyrocketed to a PSA 10 price of anywhere between $600 and $1,000. Last sales completed on eBay. So we opened box 1 yesterday. It took us the full box, or low series rather, I should say. It took us the full box to crack a Mark Jackson, although we did crack a bunch of Jordans, David Robinsons, and other basketball studs from the early 90s. And so today we're going to rip into the high series. That is the red box. At the moment, again, I think both these boxes are a great value. There's a ton of Jordans in there. Mark Jackson can be found in both of them. Sam Vincent featuring Jordan is also worth $130 in a PSA 10. And the high series, you know, if you find boxes in the high series or the low series for less money, just grab whatever's cheaper. You're actually not trading much of anything when you move from the low series to the high series. Both contain the Mark Jackson and the Michael Jordan base cards, which are two high value cards. The high series actually does not have this Sam Vincent, which is a trade-off. It has another Sam Vincent, same card number, card 223. But it's just him dribbling. You also trade off these All-Stars, but what you get instead are the team checklists. And this Michael Jordan team checklist card in a PSA 10, which is actually relatively easy to grade in a 10. Last sale on eBay went for $200. All your star rookies are in the high series as well, including the Shawn Kemp, Drazen Petrovic. And then you have access to the 1990 lottery picks. Gary Payton is the notable one among them, as well as Derek Coleman, shout out to Cuse, and any Kendall Gill fans. You also have some Kendall Gills in there. So let's rip into the box. I will say, after I opened it's been on my watch list for a while, the series Monsters on Netflix. Hadn't gotten around to watching it, and so I watched the first episode last night to see what all the hype was about, and I gotta say, badass show. That episode was an absolute banger. Whoever the actors are playing the Menendez brothers are really good. And not to give away any spoilers, but there is some really, actually gave me a visceral reaction, some pretty gratuitous violence in the first episode. So make sure you check it out. Till we get any hits here. So there's the 90s lottery picks. So speaking of Netflix, I will also put in a plug for another series that I've been really liking. It's called Mr. McMahon. For those of you who didn't grow up on WWF, now called WWE like I did, it'll walk you through, I think it's somewhere between 8 or 10 episodes. And it really documents the rise of Vince McMahon into the professional wrestling scene, coming from poverty, finding his father at about the age of 12, and quickly getting into the business and taking something that was kind of just a regional, low rent business, for lack of a better word, and building it into a multi-billion-dollar empire, and of course all the crazy drama along the way. So I'm like 4 episodes through that, and highly recommend that as well. So with that pack, we have a Shawn Kemp. There's a Reggie Miller team checklist. So like a lot of these sets, team checklists are artist drawn, so hand painted, really cool cards. There's the Magic Johnson. So if you're wondering, trying to find value in these boxes, whether you're looking at buying the low versus the high, again, I wouldn't put too much thought into it. So far I've cracked 2 low boxes, and this is going to be my second high box. And I actually pulled 3 Mark Jacksons out of the high, And out of the low boxes, 2 marks and 1 mark respectively. So I think from a perspective of base cards, you got about an equal chance. The low series is cards 1 through 330. The high series, of course, swaps out about 110 of those cards. There's a David Robinson checklist, which is really nice. About 110 of those cards to get up to 440 cards. I did complete the set. I bindered it up, so after we finish ripping these packs, I'll pull it up here and show you all what that's looking like, because I think it's a really cool set. I actually can't get enough of it. There's a BJ Armstrong rookie. There's Patrick Ewing. Again, if you didn't watch yesterday, full names on the back: Patrick Aloysius Ewing. There's the Magic Johnson checklist. Karl Malone. This is a Jordan card. Inside stuff, Jordan, Magic. Pretty cool. Nothing crazy. I don't grade these. I think last I checked, these are like $40, $45 in a 10. Of course, you know my philosophy on that. If you can't at least break even on a 9, do not send it in unless you have a real hard-on for getting them in your personal collection. Coming from a place where, you know, when I grew up collecting cards, as probably most of you who are watching these videos, there was no such thing as a slab. The closest thing was like a screw case, which flattened your card into an absolute pancake, and sometimes you would show it off. Beautiful Michael Jordan checklist right there. Again, I think this is a great piece of art, great action shot. I think his face is a little fucked up. It looks grotesque to me, so nice to open this around Halloween. But that's a fantastic card, possibly $200 there. There's a Rodman, Defensive Player of the Year. Sherman Douglas, rookie, go Cuse. Anyway, as I was saying, you know, the closest thing we had was like the screw cases, and you'd show them off on your desk or carry them around in your backpack or whatever. But most of your cards, if not all of your cards, were displayed in a binder. And so, and from a personal collection standpoint, I've actually, you know, while I do send in cards to grade and to, you know, I have a couple of hanging card cases where I can display gradable cards on my kid's wall in his bedroom. What I try and do for my personal collection is actually binder stuff up. So I have like all my favorite baseball players, all my favorite basketball players just in sections of the binder. And so I actually do buy a lot of raw cards just for my personal collection. In fact, it's way easier for me to enjoy those cards when you binder them up. I also can, you know, I'm going actually into a, just a quick aside, collection of fantasy football studs. And so, you know, you can buy a lot of cheap cards. Everyone's all about chasing high value cards these days, 1-of-1s, Wemby's, whatever. You know, my childhood, late teens and early 20s is around who scored me the most fantasy points and who won me that $100 when I played fantasy football. So I collect just like sweet looking cards that are raw, that I can fill a binder up with, and it's a lot easier for me to enjoy the cards in that manner. So a lot of words to say, no right or wrong answer on how you collect, and don't let all the hype get you down a rabbit hole on you know, oh shit, I gotta get this in a PSA 10, or I have to have my 1989 Ken Griffey Jr. rookie in a PSA 10 for whatever the fuck it costs right now. I forget what it is. Might be 1,800. Phil Jackson coaches. When you can get a 9 for 100, in the pop report on those Ken Griffey Juniors is well into the thousands and growing. So we opened a Michael Jordan there, base card, real nice looking card. I'll take as many of those as I can get. Horace Grant, Steve Kerr. I didn't stop on the Phil Jackson in this, but there's a subset of coaches and their players' years. There's Wes. Felton Spencer, rookie. Randy Bueller. Dennis Hobson. Been drinking him for years. Phil Jackson, coach. Card 308, if I'm not mistaken. You get to know some of these card numbers by heart because when you're collecting and putting them in your binder in order, you know, you come to the point where you got all your, you know, 300s through 320s, but you can't find the motherfucking Phil Jackson. And so you're going through all these cards looking for 308, 308, 308, 308, until eventually you find a stack of him. The other cards, like, you know, the Mark Jackson, you just remember those numbers because they put him on the holster at PSA, so you know he's 205 right off the top of your head. And if you don't remember that, who gives a fuck? All right, so we're about halfway through this box. We do have, as I mentioned, I opened another one of these just a day ago, 3 Mark Jacksons. The bad news is we don't have any yet. The good news is these cards look like they're relatively in good shape. Most of them are, there's Derek Coleman, love that card. It was like a chase card from my youth. Most of them seem fairly centered and in pretty good shape on the edges. So nice cuts. They must have sharpened the blades before they cut these. It's weird, back to back, same card. The other thing that is, for me anyway, kind of cool about like putting the sets together. So, you know, I'll go online, I'll Google, you know, the set list so that I can see. So it's really easy for me to see, you know, when I'm looking for a card number, David Robinson rookie, when I'm looking for a card number or a player, I can see the player I'm looking for. And what you learn in collecting, this is actually very timely that I opened this Ronnie Cycli, former Q stud, is that in a lot of these sets, older sets, and in this one in particular, there's 2 versions of this card that you can get that go in the same slot. They have the same number, card number 169, but there are 2 different iterations. One's an error. They caught their error, and then they corrected it. So Ronnie Cycli is not actually from Beirut, Lebanon. He's from Greece. So in my collection, I have, you know, and none's worth, to my knowledge, more than the other one, but in my collection, right in the same page, I have the card with him from Greece, slid right in, and Beirut, Lebanon, slid right in. So you learn little details like that, which for me is a fun part of the collection process. All right, halfway through, we have a Jordan filming on the playground. We have a Jordan checklist. We have a Jordan base card, or the high value cards. The Robinson checklist is gradable too. There's Patrick Ewing again. It's about a $75 card in a 10, if I'm not mistaken. Another Jordan right there. So you can jam those if you feel really confident about them. Karl Malone. Moving kind of quickly here. You guys have seen all this, so you really want to see, do we have any money cards, and are they in good shape? There's Vlade Divac rookie. Speaking of that, Robinson, another version or another iteration. That's nice. John Stockton in the pack. Sherman Douglas rookie. Johnny Newman rounding out the end of the pack. B.J. Armstrong rookie. Magic Johnson checklist. The checklists are really cool. I mean, there's a Larry Bird checklist. Whether it's this set, man, that dominate, and that's a nice one. So same artist, a beautifully painted face. That's a great looking checklist. I mean, whether you're talking about these or the 91 or the 92 checklists, I just love them. I think they're super cool. I would love to get, in fact, I Googled around to see if I could get my hands on some of the original art. Sadly, none of it's really available. I did find one of the Jordan, I think it was the 91 Upper Deck checklist, but, you know, A, it was not for sale, and B, I'm sure it was way out of my price range. There's another Jordan checklist, just a beautiful card. Dennis Rodman, Player of the Year. There's Carl on his horse. Similar shot. In fact, it might be the same shot in the 1991 Skybox on the back of his card. All those 91 Skybox have like candid images on the back. There's one of Jordan playing golf. There's, I believe it's that exact shot of Karl Malone, so they must have borrowed it. There's a Petrovic rookie. These are right at the beginning of the high series. Pistons beat the Blazers in the championship. So there's a good like, here's another misprint. So in my collection I have KJ, who's a guard, of course. This one they have him as forward, so I'll have to put that aside and put that in my collection. A couple other cards where they just either missed altogether on the they mislabeled their position, or they just didn't even put a position on the card. A few of those errors throughout. And so a lot of these websites, in fact, I think this is one of them. This 341 card usually has a banner up top. I don't think I see another one, so there's 2 iterations of that, which is kind of cool. Patrick Ewing on the checklist, beautiful colors. All right, 3/4 of the way through. No Mark Jacksons, which I gotta be honest, it's a little bit disappointing after the deluge of Mark Jacksons I had in the first box. Oh, there's Sam Vincent. Remember I mentioned he has Jordan in the picture on the low, no Jordan on the high. But it's not an exact science when you open these. All right, another Jordan base, love it. Sean Elliott rookie. Phil Jackson coach. Horace Grant, Kevin McHale. Willie Burton rookie. I do think those rookies, those lottery picks, it's just a great and iconic card. You see the Gary Payton right there. Some of my favorite looks, especially because I love that Coleman as a Syracuse fan. Mitch Richmond. Chris Jackson lottery pick. Mookie Blaylock. There's the Pistons winning it all. Derek Coleman, there he is, Speak of the Devil, followed by the David Robinson, another one of my favorite cards. There's the Ronnie Cycli, Beirut, Lebanon. So I think the Athens, Greece was in the low series. They corrected a lot of these in the second series. And in some of them, they made new mistakes, like you saw in that Kevin Johnson. In the low, KJ was listed as a guard correctly. J.R. Reed rookie. Man, we're getting down to it. So in the last video, we had to use our last pack mojo to open a Mark Jackson. It would be really fucking crazy if we had to do the same thing here. I don't know what the odds of that would be. Here's another one. This John Sunvold, and also card number 171. I forget what his name is, but these are printed as card 171 and 172, interestingly. Muggsy Bogues. There he is, Mark Jackson. And he looks pretty darn minty too. Maybe a little issue on the left edge. We'll see. We'll size that up. So we got our Jackson. It didn't take us all the way to the last pack mojo. We do have 3 to go. Feast or famine apparently with Mark. We do have 2 Jordans. Normally, it's funny, like normally I would be all over the Jordans, and I still am. Yeah, see, there's most of those cards have the sports on the back. The other one I showed you had no sports. But this is the one and only time where I like to open more of any other player but Michael Jordan. And that's Mark Jackson, thanks to pop culture. Tim Hardaway rookie, about $50 in the PSA 10. Clyde Drexler on the checklist, Magic Johnson, Glenn Rice rookie, Bill Laimbeer, Pistons up 3-1. And last pack Mojo. What can we do with it? What can we do with it? What are we gonna do with it? Ron Harper, Jim Peterson, Danny Young, Mike Dunleavy as a player. Stay in school, Bob Wise, Sean Kemp rookie. All right, so not a complete dud on the last pack. Sean Kemp, a really quality card to pull. So that is it. So now you can see, if you want to watch both the videos, you can compare the high series to the low series. The major trade-offs that you're making, just to recap, you're trading off this Sam Vincent for a card that's not really worth anything. You are trading up from this Michael Jordan, about $80 in a PSA 10, to this Michael Jordan, which again recently went for $200. I would sell, excuse me, I would sell at $200, but $150 is probably more like it. And then you have access to the lottery picks and a couple other inserts. For all intents and purposes, everything else is the same. So there you go. These boxes are still relatively affordable at about $50, $55, $60 on eBay. If you think that was fun, you want to crack a few of your own, go for it. You can find plenty of cards if you want to send them in for grading. In the meantime, if you like to watch some fucked up shit, go check out that show Monster about the Menendez brothers. It is pretty wild based on the first episode. And last but not least, whatever you're doing out there in the collecting world, hope you have fun doing it. We talked a little bit about what I'm into and how I collect, which often doesn't cost me an arm and a leg. So happy collecting. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, click the subscribe button. Also check us out on Instagram at Full Send Collectibles. I'm Jeff. Have a great rest of your day.